It has been called one of, if not the toughest hikes in the state. An extreme workout that's challenged even Olympic athletes. 2,744 steps. Climbing the Manitou Incline is the equivalent of climbing the Empire State Building, the Eiffel Tower twice, or the Statue of Liberty 6 times. Hundreds of thousands challenge the trail every year. And as we approach one of the busiest seasons for the climb, we are taking you behind the scenes and history of the Manitou Incline in tonight's 360 perspective. The incline hasn't always been a hiking trail. Far from it. The Pioneers Museum takes us back. In fact, the steep trail was first carved out in 1907, built as a cable tram to haul pipes and other material to the summit for the construction of a hydroelectric water plant. After that purpose was served, the incline started its new path as a tourist attraction. It was first purchased in the early 1900s by a doctor and was marketed as the longest and highest incline on the globe. There was a summit house at the top that burned down in 1914. Then in 1923, Spencer Penrose bought the incline, upgraded the rail cars, and built a new summit house in 1958. The Cog Railway operated it for decades until rock slides and washouts on the mountain became too costly to fix, and it was closed down in 1990. The incline is located on the western edge of Manitou Springs at the base of Mount Manitou. It's split up among 3 owners. The base belongs to the city of Colorado Springs. The Cog, which is owned by the same company that owns the Broadmoor, owns the middle and the largest piece. Then the top is federal land owned by the U.S. Forest Service. The end of the incline connects with the Bar Trail, which takes you all the way to the top of Pikes Peak. In the years after it closed, hikers trespassed on private property to make the climb. In order to eliminate crime and better manage the natural reclamation, it was reopened as a public trail in 2013. That came after years of legal struggles over right-of-way disputes and parking rights. It literally took an act of Congress, which President Obama signed in 2013, to finally clear the way for the incline to open as a public trail. Since then, millions of dollars worth of renovations have been added to the trail. As more people continue to move to the Pikes Peak region and more hikers discover the incline, traffic at the base continues to be an issue for both locals in Manitou and the Cog Railway. There are several options for parking, and the most recommended one is the free parking on Manitou Avenue near Memorial Park and a free public lot at the intersection with Old Man's Trail, which is a road. From there, the free shuttles run every 20 minutes through downtown Manitou and up to the base of the incline. There's also a paid parking all throughout Manitou Springs, including the streets and public lots. At the end of Ruxton Avenue, just beyond the Cog, you can park at the Bar Trailhead parking lot. Prices doubled last week to $10 a day. The price hike meant to encourage people to use the free parking and shuttle services, but it's actually still way down from what it was more than a year ago when they raised it to $40 a day. The incline, a point of pride for many in the Pikes Peak region. Businesses benefit from the tourism. The intense physical challenge is a draw for world-class athletes training at the Olympic Center, our large military population in Colorado Springs, as well as the casual hikers looking for an intense workout or a big challenge. It rarely closes except during the Pikes Peak Ascent and Marathon, and has also been a place to honor our American heroes, firefighters. They have made the climb in full gear to remember those who died climbing the stairs of the World Trade Center in the 9/11 attacks. If you're thinking of making your first climb, we cannot stress enough how serious it is to know what you are getting into before you try it. It is classified as extreme. El Paso County Search and Rescue, they're called up to help down dozens of hikers every year, many who simply get exhausted from the climb. It is hard. Rescues take hours and lots of manpower and equipment. So first responders have several suggestions for you. First off, wear the right shoes, hiking boots or shoes with a good grip. Do not wear flip-flops. Also, drink plenty of water before you go, and then carry enough with you to the climb up and back down. And even if you've been in the area for some time, you still need to give yourself plenty of time to set a steady pace, take breaks if you need to so your body can adjust to that altitude. Also, wear sunscreen and try to hike during the cooler times of the day. They also recommend trying a less challenging climb first to make sure you're ready. And a few big rules to keep in mind as well. Only walk up the incline. Do not go down it. Take Bar Trail to get back down. There is a bailout point, though, about 2/3 of the way up the incline if you can't make it to the top. Also, stay on the marked trail. Going off trail causes extra damage to the environment, and another big rule, no pets there. Obey all posted signs. Always be sure not to leave litter when you go. And if you want to learn more about the incline, the rules, or want to help make sure it's taken care of for generations to enjoy, check out the nonprofit group inclinefriends.org, and we'll have that link in the web version of this story. If you have an idea or issue you think needs a 360 perspective, send an email to 360@koaa.com.